What is diagnostic reasoning? Diagnostic reasoning is a complex process that we use to think through a case. So, in other words, we need to process a ton of data from the patient's presentation, right? So, history questions, physical exam maneuvers, and other diagnostic test results to weigh the probability of disease. So, at the end of the day, we're trying to get down to the bottom of what's the most likely diagnosis here. So, to illustrate, let's pop into a case ourselves. So, a person comes to see me with a rash. He's an older adult male. For a rash or for any presentation, I do like to think of some general diagnostic buckets, I call them, to generate a list of differential diagnoses. Diagnostic buckets are a way to categorize diseases based on common traits that they share. So for rash, I like to think of four main buckets. We think of itchy rashes, infectious rashes, dangerous rashes, and the other bucket is for conditions that can't quite be categorized. So for rash, when I think of itchy things, allergic contact dermatitis can pop into that bucket, eczema, psoriasis, irritant dermatitis, lichen planus. And that's not an exhaustive list, of course. For infectious things, cellulitis, shingles, and erythema migrans can all pop into that infectious bucket. For red flag or dangerous rashes, we think of things like toxic epidermal necrolysis, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, and necrotizing fasciitis. And in that other bucket, medications can certainly cause allergic reactions or can cause side effects. Having these differential buckets helps cue my memory so I can remember a lot of these conditions when I'm working up a presentation like rash. And we'll get into this more throughout the course. Differential diagnoses are essentially a list of possible conditions that you need to test throughout your assessment. So, as I go through my history now, I'm asking this gentleman, when did it start? And he tells me about 5 to 7 days ago, so about a week ago. And he does explain that it's extremely itchy, mildly painful, but not too bad. He was hiking and he was hiking in shorts. So that rash is isolated to his left lower leg. So immediately my brain's going to, okay, this has got to be an itchy rash. Is it an allergic rash? Has he brushed up against something like poison ivy or poison oak, for example? So this is where my brain's honing in now because the data is supporting a diagnosis as like that. So no other exposures, no tick bites, so that's reassuring. No skin injuries. Otherwise feels well and he's not taking any new meds. So again, if he's feeling well, then I'm less likely concerned with things like shingles or Stevens-Johnson syndrome or any of those more dangerous type rashes. So I need to come in and look at that rash. Is it blistery? Is it weepy? Is it spreading? To really hone in on my suspicion for allergic contact dermatitis, but also to rule out other things. So it's isolated to his left lower shin. There are some weepy vesicles, some are crusted over. Okay, so this is already, again, supporting my suspicion for allergic contact dermatitis. But, could still be shingles. But I do note that it's not in a dermatomal pattern that's characteristic of shingles. It's not hot, there's no spread. So, again, more reassuring that it's not a cellulitis, not an erythema migrans rash, because those do spread. And he was hiking, so we still do have to think about those possibilities. So, at the end of the day, this is really painting a picture for me of an allergic contact dermatitis rash. So, again, what's the evidence that I have to back that up? Well, again, I started with this long list of possibilities, but as soon as that guy said, hey, it's really itchy, a little bit painful, but not too bad, it's not spreading, immediately my brain's zoning in on that allergic contact dermatitis. But I'm still going ahead and testing out all those other possibilities, like the cellulitis, the shingles, the erythema migrans rash, because I have to. I have to rule out those other possibilities through the history, through the physical exam. And what we land on is the most likely diagnosis, the most probable disease with the data that we have to back this up. Okay, so quick debrief. Diagnostic reasoning is how we work through a case. So, as you saw, we started with the list of neutral possibilities or differential diagnoses. But what we have to do is we have to go through and test all of those possibilities or hypotheses with history questions, physical exam maneuvers, and other tests until finally we land on the most likely diagnosis. Because we have enough evidence to back up that diagnosis and we've done enough to rule out all those other possibilities.